Rigs and Techniques table today with Dave. And
yes,
Dave,
sir.
You know, there's a lot of stuff here. And
yeah.
and when you turn the lights out, it glows.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
So that's kind of cool.
We are fishing in the dark when we were going out that deep water. Now, see, the reason a lot of this has happened, this deep water fishing, is, you know, a lot of the closer places to shore are getting hammered. More and more people are fishing.
Them, yeah.
So, you know, the bottom spots are getting more and more crowded. So the guys who could go further offshore into the deeper water, catching these deep species that don't get a lot of pressure, it's a really good thing to do on a day when you're slow trolling, you know, slow of day trolling, or you're not catching, doing something else. You go deep and go try to catch some of these, you know, really
the only place
strange
you see
and good eating fish.
The only place you see a boat
deep.
with 3 motors on the back of it anymore is so far offshore or at the sandbar.
Right. So, you know, you can catch yellow edge grouper in deep water, snowy grouper, swordfish, golden tiles, all these great eating cold water species.
Delicious.
They're all really good. And the great thing about fishing in the Gulf out there's not a whole lot of current. You know, it's not as bad as in some of the other places where they try to do this daytime sword fishing. The Gulf of Mexico out there, you know, if you have a 2-knot current, it's whipping, you know, so you can really, you know, fish really, you know, straight up and down, almost like catfishing for some of these swordfish and some of these other things. Now, we're going to look for water between, deep dropping is, you know, usually 500 feet and over. 500 to 1,200 feet is probably where you're going to be doing most of your fishing. I got to fish once in the Bahamas on a deep drop trip right when braid first came out, and braided line is the reason we can do this now.
Yeah,
you know,
it keeps the line straight up and down.
It keeps the line straight up and down. There's no stretch. We can feel every bite. When the very first bit of braided line came out, we did a story for Sport Fishing magazine. We fished in Bimini with Ron Shatman, who's one of the pioneers of deep drop fishing, and we were fishing in 1,900 feet of water, which is the Empire State Building with a football field on top of it. So that's 1,900 feet. And we were fishing with big barracuda, slabs of barracuda with that braided line on dual reels, which, you know, you could crank forward and then crank backward and still get line. It's an Italian thing. And we set 9 world records in 3 days because just about every fish that we caught was something that nobody ever cranked up before. Exactly. So they're all tackle records.
But what are we going to use to catch these fish?
Well, we're going to use braided lines and circle hooks for sure. You know, you got to have maybe a 50 wide, something that you can load up with. If you're fishing in 1,200 feet of water, you're going to at least want 2,000, 2,500 feet of line. And probably closer to 2,500 feet. And, you know, I like to use braided line, diamond braid 80. If you're using 80-pound diamond braid, there's not much that's going to break that. You're going to catch just about every fish. And it's thin enough that you can pack a whole lot on a rod. On
a manageable size rod and
reel.
On
a rod and reel, correct.
Okay.
And especially a 50-pound. You know, the 50-pound will probably do as well. 50-pound braid will catch 99% of the fish that you're going to be using out there, even when you're using an electric reel. You're dropping like 4 or 5 minutes, so it's a long way down there. We're going to be using weights. You can probably get away with 3 pounds. If there's no current at all, if it start to whipping, you know, any kind of current there, you can go up to 7 or 8 pounds of weight. Just to get down on the bottom, especially when you're targeting tile fish. Tile fish like to eat on the bottom, and it's better if it's not moving. If you can get your thing to stay there on the bottom, it's okay. You're going to do better with the tiles. The bigger ones will eat stuff that's dragging, but if you're in a big school of small ones, you want to try to stay on the bottom and keep it down there. And fish bites is a great thing to use for bait. It's also a great thing to use in conjunction with other baits. Squids, sardines, any dead bait, big chunks of barracuda with the skin on to hold it on there, and then slide some fish bites on there. That helps it hang on. Also, it has the same scent and everything else as the regular formula. So, you know, you get a lot of bites. This is a titanium deep drop rig. Folds up nice, you know, so you can store it as well.
Yeah.
And they make all kinds. They even have some with little danglers on them. You can get them with squids. You know, they make all different kinds. Rays, you know, the R&R deep drops, they're the ones that we really like to use.
I noticed that some of these have relatively small hooks.
Yeah, because, you know, you're depending on the size of the fish you're targeting. Sometimes you're wanting to catch a bunch of winchmen or even the little tiles that are 4 to 8. pounds. But I'll be honest with you, you can catch really big fish on smaller hooks as well. A lot of the jigs that we use way smaller hooks than that, and we catch big groupers on them.
Well, there's obviously a whole lot more that we can talk about.
Just so much, because there's so many different things down there to target. We didn't even talk about the grouper rigs or anything.
That's all right.
Bree, where are we going next?
We're learning a lot. All right.